Okay, the structure faces north, so this is the northeast corner. We're going to go counterclockwise around it for the most part. This wood mulch underneath the drip edge is conducive to wood-destroying insects, termites, if you will. I can say that because I have that license. This is not a termite inspection, by the way. A wood-destroying insect report was not contracted for this property. Okay, lawn sprinkler heads, they should not be closer than 12 inches to a structure. You see that a lot. It's common. It doesn't make it right. Reverse polarity. We're not going to be able to tell if the GFCI works for that. Reverse polarity. We got some double pane vinyl frame windows. Brick exterior. And we got all across your freeze boards and your fascia. That's all siding. Metal siding. Vinyl siding on your soffits. There's good reasons to get siding, but usually you're covering something up. That's what usually happens. This is the main water shut-off valve for the house. It used to have the old style. It's been updated. So you got the little ball handle right there. It's rusty. It'll probably break off in your hand. We got 60 psi water pressure. That's acceptable. This right here, unless it's been decommissioned, this is the drain for your air conditioning system, your cooling system. And this drain is supposed to go over here to this well, and that well is supposed to be clear and go down a ways, and so that it can accept the water. Not ideal, but it was acceptable at the time. But this doesn't even meet that requirement. So the condensation that the evaporator coil creates just drains right down on your ground right there. I say it's yours. I'm working for a potential buyer. Windows. These exterior light fixtures, they should be sealed to help prevent moisture infiltration into the structure. Let's see if we can still keep going there. Got another one. No power to this one. I'll have to look at that. Maybe it's a GFCI that's tripped. That means that then that would be GFCI protected, but that one over there would not. Coming along, sprinkler valves. A tree shouldn't be closer to a foundation, a slab, a structure, a home, especially slab, shouldn't be closer than 25 feet. The roots can cause you problems, depending on the type of tree that is. If that's one of the cedars, they break like glass. They grow nice and big, but when they fail rapidly. Out here is the water meter. It's in the parkway. Okay. I also say okay, it sounds demeaning. That's what my wife said. I'm going to try it. See this meter inside here? That little sprocket? That's a cheater wheel or cheater paddle. It's a flow indicator switch. Flow indicator. If that's turning, go look for your leak. If you can't see it, it's someplace you can't see, but that's fresh water leaking into your house. This is the lawn sprinkler check valve. It's good that you have one, but it's not supposed to be on this side of the street, on the side of your parkway sidewalk. It's supposed to be on your property. It's not supposed to be on the parkway sidewalk. The handles obviously are rusted. Kind of expect that. These ports, bleed valves, they're supposed to have caps on them. This obviously hasn't been serviced. It's supposed to be serviced once a year. This floor should have been excavated so that there's 3 inches beneath the valve, so you can wrap your hand around and service it. And then this floor should be lined with gravel. You also should have a main shut-off valve to this check valve with its service, but it wasn't required back in the day. That would be a retrofit. Be a good one, I guess. Come back and get that taken care of too. Moving on. More vinyl siding. That kind of goes with the roof covering, but it's not. See the shingles? There's a little strip of metal right underneath the shingles. And then you have your frieze and fascia boards. They're kind of molded together for a siding product. But this little tan that went right underneath the shingles. When that thing overlaps, it's supposed to overlap a minimum of 10 inches. Not 4 inches like what we're seeing there. Maybe that's 4 inches. One thing I haven't noticed, we're coming along here. There we are. We have a weep hole. Weep hole. Homeownership 101. All roofs leak. All walls leak. We want them to shed water faster than they accept it, because we want to keep the inside dry. Moving along here. Am I seeing? I'm not. Okay. Lovely people are texting me. Have a little parge coat on the foundation perimeter there. Moving along, trees too close, sprinklers too close, wood mulch under the edge. This is either for a shutoff valve or for a drain. I'm not sure. We got a cast iron drain system. You probably want to get this by it being cast iron. My standard recommendation is to have a licensed plumber scope it out, see what you're getting into. We got some stair step cracks between the brick and mortar, and some mortar repair. But stair step cracks between the brick and mortar underneath the kitchen window. We have some hail damage on this screen. We kind of expect it, but I didn't see any, if any, very much signs of hail damage on the roof covering. Previous video. This is the same thing as the previous video. This is a little atrium here, and it's just bolted right up to your shingles. Bolted right up to your shingles. And here's an excellent example. I'll get in there of the flashing not properly lapped. See that? Probably won't have much in the way of a problem with that. It's not right though. I know it's not right, so I feel compelled to share. GFCI on this patio. And what we don't have here is a in-use cover, a bubble cover if you will, that you could plug something in and then close the cover. So as long as something's plugged in, there isn't any weather protection here. So in some exterior applications it's okay, like when it's buried on a porch or what. Let's see. Hi, this is Lisa Tate. Did not receive notification that you arrived. I used to do an inspection today. Just confirming. Didn't know I was supposed to. Got approved. This window ledge. It does. Never mind. False alarm. This is a closed door event. Flapper stuck open. Is it? No, flapper's not even there. Lint. Not sure what this grounding rod is. Who knows? This is the water heater temperature pressure relief drain valve, and it's close enough and far enough from the ground, but it's crimped and restricted. This is the control wires to the lawn sprinkler system, and obviously it's been damaged and taped up. Now, this siding has been here for a while. I can feel it with my hands. I can feel the oxidation. This siding was not installed properly. It's supposed to slide up and down when you grab it. You hang this siding. Whoever did it was very conscientious, and they want to make sure that they got it real nice and snug. But what can happen with this, and it hasn't happened yet, and it's been here for a long time, but the reason why you hang siding is so that it can expand and contract and it will not buckle. So it's performing. It's been performing, has a history of performance, but it wasn't hung properly. This is the carport. I cannot determine how this carport was. Actually, I can kind of determine. It's supported by these 3 posts. So this is a cantilever. It's kind of in a precarious position in place because the header's not properly supported. If someone steps off of the attic, off the roof, then it is going to put some undue pressure up here. I hope it rains some more because it looks, see this mottling along here? It looks like there's been a history of the roof leaking, but I can't see it today, and it's misting. It might not show up in the camera, but it is misting right now. Metal overhead panel door. The optic sensors should not be further away from the garage floor than 6 inches. You should have tension notices posted here and here, spring tension notices. You have a pull handle. This is a spring tension notice. You have one, but they're supposed to be posted at each corner. And you're supposed to have a child entrapment notice, a safety notice posted. Hopefully by this door lock that should be decommissioned, you can lock this door, and then if you try to open it automatically, it causes damage to the door. This is lawn sprinkler control. We do not have operating instructions. We do not have a care and use manual. And the zones, or the station zones, they're not labeled. I do not notice a weather sensor. This control box is improperly powered by an extension cord. It looks like another home inspector's been here. That sticker's kind of old, so I don't know when, but that sticker says that there's no GFCI to this receptacle. And they're right, there isn't. I checked it. This door doesn't have a self-closing spring on it. This is the attic access. And this is the water heater. The water heater is 2 years old, 50 gallons. I'm not seeing a green tag or a code approval notice. The gas has a sediment trap. It's electronic ignition. It does have a safety pan. Safety pan, however, the safety pan discharges on the garage floor. This is crimped on the end. This is your temperature pressure release valve. This valve should be insulated. Those connectors should be insulated. There should not be tape on your vent. Tape should not be on your vent. Comic relief. Tape should not be on the vent. Now, back in the day, screens were, if not required, they were allowed on the ceiling vents with gas appliances. But that's no longer applicable. That does not meet current codes for water heaters and furnace installations for that matter. We'll get to that. This is the clean out for your fireplace. That's kind of a precarious position because it's in the garage. You might want to, if you're cleaning things out or even having a fire, you might, take into consideration where you store things like paints and gas and those kinds of things. These, and we have a burnout luminary there, a burnout fluorescent tube. But these fluorescent light fixtures, they're okay because they're plugged directly into a receptacle outlet. That one does not have a cover plate. And they're not GSCI protected, but they don't have an extension cord like this. So since they do not have extension cords and they're plugged directly in, that's an applicable, an acceptable application. But they should have protective prism covers on there because when these things break, man, they go everywhere, and it's not very environmentally friendly either. Over here on the electric service panel, the electric service panel was screwed into place. Screws are fast, screws are tight, I get that. The screws do not have the tension strength that nails do. You ever try to take apart a treehouse? So if this structure was to experience something like a tornado, by it being screwed into place, it's less likely to stay. It would be more likely to stay in place if it had been properly nailed into place. Coming along here, some of these leads are a little long. Now, a lot of home inspectors will tell you, and the Texas Real Estate Commission tells me, that I have to call this a deficient because this aluminum does not have an antioxidant paste on it. But that's wholly dependent on the age and the type of the aluminum wiring. So that does not necessarily, I'm going to call it a deficiency, but an electrician would be better to, might tell you that I'm an idiot. I don't know. I've been called that. I'm okay with that as long as you're taken care of. The bonding location for the electrical system should be noted in here, which it's not. And then these cable, this is L2. It should not be in direct contact with the cabinet cover. And then this is called bundling. This is very common. It doesn't make it right. You're only supposed to bring bundling. You're only supposed to bring 2 cables in at a time. That's why they have these little punch outs here. The big ones are for L1 and L2 because they don't know where it's going to come, so they use that one right there. But that being said, this is an improper application, and that's an improper installation. And the middle one here, that's your main neutral. It feeds back to the system. That's supposed to be wrapped with white tape so that you know what it is. Now, if you don't know that that's your main neutral, you do not belong in this cabinet. But it's supposed to be wrapped with a white tape, so there's that. Then, because of the vintage of this cabinet, it should have been installed to, the way I'm seeing it, to current standards. There should be plastic, rubber, protective covers over L1 and L2 in the main neutral right there. So those covers are not there either. So then, according to the labeling, this is a 50 amp breaker right here. This 50 amp breaker is for the air conditioning condensing system unit. And by the way, the air conditioning condensing unit is rated for 40 max. So the air conditioner condensing unit is overfused. One of your courtesy lights is not illuminated. It took a while, but the optic sensor eventually worked. You want to find out what the combination is for this door? It works on combo. Next to the patio. It's a little loose. Actually, just yank it. Oh, this control button is not supposed to be closer to the garage floor than 5 feet. I'm vertically challenged. That's closer to the garage floor than 5 feet. It's supposed to be that so little hands don't get to it. And just like the door, you should have a caution notice, a safety notice posted right there. These doors, okay, they shouldn't be allowed to stay open on their own accord. This is the door between the garage and the living space. If this is left open, there's nothing that keeps the fire from walking in. Storm doors, I might have said this at the front of the house, storm doors are beyond the scope of this inspection. There's another trellis. It's on the roof. We saw that from the roof inspection. These novelty lights, they're cute. They're not supposed to be used in a permitted application. Looks like this rain gutter, it is, that rain gutter's leaking right there. Look at that, just like that. Come back and get a still image of that. I can't see the grounding rod, so if that grounding rod on the other side of the house, it wouldn't be for it. It's too far away. I can't see the grounding. Too close, too close, too close. Moving along. That has to be the coolest dog window I've ever seen. It's beyond the scope of this inspection. This retaining wall is far enough away from the structure that it should not affect the foundation. It should not. If it's twice its height away from the structure, then in theory it shouldn't affect the foundation. But that said, and this is way longer, way farther than, it's a mile away from the house. There's your gas meter right there. So this is beyond the scope. Fences are beyond the scope. Cool dog window is beyond the scope. Coming along here, this is the gas meter. The gas pot is far enough away. There's the fireplace again, and there's something I didn't mention on the other video. See that flashing, that metal stuff right there around the chimney? When they redid the roof, that flashing should have been tighter. There's a still image of it. It should be tighter and sealed. I'm guessing this is the master bedroom. And your plumbing vent pipes. Okay. Your plumbing vent pipes are supposed to be, plumbing vent pipe right there, it's supposed to be higher from the roof covering than 6 inches. At one time, this was a recessed patio area. Maybe it was always covered, but it's been converted. It's now part of the home. Iron drain lines. Finally, that's protected. That's what you call some protection right there. Now this is the data plate. It shouldn't be faded, but I was able to pull some information off of that. It's pretty strange for an old man's eyes. What I'm getting is this is a 3-ton unit. It's got a maximum of 40 amp breaker, which is a 50 amp in the, so it's overfused. 2009, so it's 11 years old. They last about 14. That's about how long they last. Electric service disconnect. It's not supposed to be behind the unit. It's not supposed to be hanging off the wall. It's supposed to be sealed on 3 sides. Reminds me, I need to look at the breaker, at the electric meter. It's supposed to be sealed on 3 sides. These service ports, they should be anti-theft. They weren't required. Anti-theft wasn't required in 2009. I don't think they even existed. The electric disconnect is not supposed to be behind the unit. We do have an electric service receptacle over here. The sprinklers are close again. And then this is the east wall. And a couple things, some things to think about. I mean, the grading and drainage is level here. In fact, it's level here. It's level there. It's just about level everywhere. You do have the weep holes, but there aren't any control joints. Some people call them expansion joints. Call it what you will, but expansion joints aren't present here either. So a little bit. This is, again, I think this is the master bedroom window. There's a little bit of mortar cracking right there. I'm seeing very little is in outward signs of brick movement. That corner brick right there, that's moving. You got a little bit of, that's a good example, because underneath here, right there, you got a shrinkage crack. Okay, some people call them corner pops. Call it what you will. But that's an aesthetic issue. That's not a foundation issue. Got a bit of cracking between these are soldier bricks, and these are sailor bricks. A bit of mortar cracking between the soldier brick right there. And these windows, I don't know if they were designed for it or not. These are called weeps because they all leak, remember? And you see that little water coming out, see it weeping? So any water that gets behind here comes out these little holes. But on most of these windows, and this is pretty uniform, so I don't know. But on most of these windows, they have weir traps. These are weird. See the water coming out? It's doing what it's supposed to do. You wouldn't know unless you had a day like today. But there are no weir traps on any of these windows, and some of these windows have no weir traps. That's why so far, those are the only two windows that I remember having weir traps. I'm going back around to collect some still images. Interesting.